Men. Tall men, small men, sensitive men, stone-faced men, sadistic men, angelic men. There's many different types of men in Otome, and there's someone for everyone. Now, I like to think over the past few years, I've played a decent amount of Otomes, and over time, I've grown to fall in love with quite a few characters. But I've never put much thought into who are my absolute favorites and why. So today, I'm going to rank all of the allies I've played in Otome games. From the best boys, to the mid, to the hot trash, I'm going to cover them all. Now before we get started, I'd like to mention a few things. Firstly, I'm only ranking characters from Nintendo Switch games, not mobile Otomes or PC, although some of these titles may have been available on PC, such as Nightshade. Listen, if I ranked all the mobile allies I've played, we'd be sitting here for a good few hours, and I have neither the patience nor the mental capacity to sort through so many men, so we're narrowing it down. So I apologize if this video is a little clickbaity, but your girl's gotta get your attention somehow. Second, and I need to stress this, but this is my personal opinion. Everyone has a type, and who might appeal to me might not appeal to the next person. Some people like apples, where some people like peaches. Some people prefer summer, and some people prefer winter. Some people like emotionally stable people, where I prefer a suave playboy with an angsty hidden agenda. Different strokes for different folks. So if I say there's a character that I don't like as much as another, please don't take offense in it. They're just not my personal cup of tea. Likewise, I won't get offended if you say that my taste in allies is ridiculous, because I know it is. Thirdly, to avoid any spoilers, I will not be ranking any secret route characters, and when discussing an ally, I will not describe scenes that will spoil their route, although I will talk about their personalities and my thoughts on their routes. So if you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, then please click out of this video. And finally, this is not a be-all, end-all list. I'm just here to have a good time, so I would love to see your guys' tier rankings in the comments below, and then we can compare our best boys. Okay, I think that covers it, so feel free to grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's dive into my hot takes of Otome men. This tier list will respectively go from S tier down to F tier, and I created a special tier titled Hot Trash. The name speaks for itself. And listen, I'm going to be absolutely ruthless, okay? I am not afraid to put someone in F tier if I have to. I've made a little description for each tier, and they are as followed. First up, you have S tier, and this is, you are my earth, moon, and sun. I would die for you. There is truly no one better than you in my eyes. This is the ultimate tier, and I've probably played their route multiple times, probably around 2 to 5. Next, we've got A tier, and this is, I want to settle down, marry you, and live in domestic bliss. And I've probably played their route at least twice. And then for B tier, I have it described as, I had a good time, but that was it. Like, sure, I'll go bungee jumping once, and I'm sure I'll have fun, but will I do that again? Probably not. Next up for C tier, I have, I'm sure you're the one for someone, just not for me, babe. I've probably only played their route once, and although they do have redeeming qualities, and I can see their appeal, they just personally don't appeal to me. D is, I feel nothing but familial love for you. I've only played their route once. These are characters that I can see as nothing more than family, and you're never gonna get out of that zone. Sorry. That's just the way it is. Next up, we have E, which is, are you an ally or just a side character? These people don't have very memorable routes, and it felt like an absolute chore to complete. Like, I have a vague recollection of your route, but I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't tell you what really happened if you asked me. Then we move down to F tier, and I've got, you've managed to piss me off, and my day has gotten worse because of you. Thanks a lot. This is the ultimate last bottom of the barrel tier. Like, you must have really done something to anger me if you've made it into F tier. And finally, we've got the special tier, which is hot trash. It's exactly what you think they are. They are a complete mess, but I don't know, something about them's got me feeling some type of way. Okay, so I wanted to do this list in order of the first Otome I've played up to the most recent one that I've played, and then I realized that the very first Switch Otome that I played was the Charming Empire, and I couldn't tell you what happened in any story. I have completely forgotten every single route, so I feel like I need to replay that game. So I'm sorry, Charming Empire, but you're just a question mark? I'll replay you again someday. Moving on to the next game that I remember playing, and that is Pio Fiore. So, I already feel like I'm gonna get so much hate for this. People are definitely gonna be making me walk to the guillotine after this one. Okay, let's start off with Dante. Now, this one really, really annoys me because I want to give him an S tier. I love everything about his aesthetic. I love his blue eyes. I love his hair. I love his character. I love the way he blushes. But I'm gonna be honest, his route was one of the most boring ones I've played in Pio Fiore. I am so sorry, Dante. I really like your character, but your route wasn't very good. I hope his route gets better in 1926, but for this game's sake, Dante is getting an A tier. Let's move on. Next up, we have Gilbert. I don't even need to tell you guys, this boy's an S tier. S tier, baby. Look at him. Look at the vibes he gives off. He can take care of you. He can take care of your entire family. He'll protect you from everything. He is tall, handsome. I have nothing but good things to say about this man. He is S tier. Next up, we have Nicola. Now, I want to give him an S tier because I really enjoyed his route. However, I did think about his bad endings and I was like, wait a minute, this guy's got a couple of issues, so he's gonna be an A tier for me. I do like his route, it was fun, but he does have some issues that he needs to sort out, so I'll leave it at that. He is the prime example of a suave playboy with a hidden agenda, so I really recommend checking out his route if you haven't played it yet, but I can tell you that Nicola's route was not the best one in Pio Fiore, so Nicola is A tier. Next up, we have Orlock, and I'm sorry, my sweet baby angel, but you are getting a D ranking. I can see this man as nothing other than like my baby brother. I can never picture him as a love interest, and he's so cute, but I can't do it. So I'm sorry, Orlock baby, but you're D tier. Okay, and finally, the most controversial character, Yang. And sadly, Yang, you are getting an F tier. I do not like this man whatsoever. To people who do like him, who hurt you? Who hurt you in your life? I'm totally just kidding. I can see online how many people like him, and like, I totally get his appeal, but at the same time, just every time he spoke, I was like, you need to shut up. Like, I just could not handle his route at all. However, Yang is also an exception that goes into the hot trash category, because although he makes me mad and he is a mess, he is a hot mess. He is good looking. Every time I see him, he does kind of steal the spotlight. So, congratulations, Yang. You were the first person to get both F tier and the hot trash tier. So congratulations. Your consolation prize? Me still not liking you. Okay, let's quickly move on to the next game. Next up is Caller Malice. Oh yeah, baby. I'm excited for this one. Okay, starting off, we're gonna go with Okazaki. He is going to get a solid B tier. The more that I think about it, the more I actually really enjoyed his route. At first, I think I said his was one of my least favorites. I think he's gone up in my standing, but he is quirky, he is cute. He does have some issues in his route though, so there's some things that I kind of can't look over, but I'm gonna give him a solid B. Okazaki gets B. Next up, we have Yanagi. Now, I said that Yanagi was one of my favorite characters in Caller Malice. I still agree with that, although his route didn't have it all for me. There was something missing, and I don't know what, but he is a solid A tier. I can totally imagine marrying him, settling down, retiring, and then cruising the world with him. He seems like the ideal domestic partner. So, Yanagi, A tier. Next up, my favorite character in this game, we have Enomoto, and he is getting S tier, baby. I know people are not going to agree with me on this one, but he is S tier for me in every regard. He makes the best partner, the best boyfriend. He is funny, caring, supportive. To me, him and Ichiha seem to have the most, how do I explain it? The most balanced dynamic between one another. They both support each other, and he would just make the best boyfriend. So in every regard for me, Enomoto is S tier. Alright, moving on to Shiraishi. Shiraishi is gonna get a solid A tier because this boy deserves it. He deserves to settle down. He deserves to have a peaceful life with his partner. I can't talk about him because it will spoil his route, but this man's A tier. Last person in this, we have Sasasuka, and he's gonna get a C tier from me. Like I said, I'm sure you're the one for someone, just not for me. I can totally see the appeal in him, but he's one of those characters that always calls the main character like dummy or stupid, and I'm sorry, but that's not something that appeals to me. It reminds me of like children in preschool or elementary school. Just don't call people stupid. It's not hard. So, Sasasuka, I'm sorry, but you're getting a C tier. Let us move on to probably my next most controversial game, and that is Nightshade. Let's just get the one that people like the most out of the way. Let's go with Hanzo. He, in my opinion, is going to get a C tier. Again, I totally see the appeal in him. A lot of people online like him, but he's not for me. I just can't get over the age gap between him and the MC. I did like how much personal growth Enju made in his route, but there's just something about him that I don't like. He gives me like real like uncle vibes, and I can't go with that. So I'm sorry, Hanzo, but you are C tier. Next up, I feel bad about this one. Next up is Chojiro, and I'm sorry, my boy, but you're going to get E tier. If you asked me what happened in his route, I could not tell you at all. Like, whatsoever. I can't even remember how his good route ends. I can tell you how his bad ending ends, but I cannot recall a single fact in his route. And so, I'm sorry, but you are E tier. Next up is Gekamaru, and he is the actual first route that I played in this game, and he is going to get a solid A tier because he seems like he would protect you, he would stay by your side, he would love to marry and settle down with you. Overall, he seems like a great character. So Gekamaru, congratulations, you are A tier. Next up, we have the Playboy, Goemon, and you are going to get a solid B tier. I had a really fun time with his route. I don't really have any complaint about his route, but it was also one where I finished it and I was like, okay. And I don't feel the need to ever play his route again. However, I am going to put Goemon in the hot trash category as well. So he's joining Yang. Most of the things he said in the game was kind of sleazy, but like also at the same time, like I kind of vibe with that and I really liked it. So Goemon, congratulations, you are joining Yang up in the hot trash tier as well. And finally, we have Kurayuki, and I'm sorry, but he's gonna get a D. Just like Orlock, I can see this man as nothing other than a family member. He reminds me of like a little brother, so I'm sorry, but it's D tier for you. Okay, next game is Bustafellows. So, starting off with Limbo. Limbo gets a solid A tier. I had a fun time with his route. I feel like he would make a great husband, boyfriend. He could probably get you out of jail. He's a pretty good lawyer. I'm not saying you should go to jail, but I'm just saying he could probably help you out. And although I don't think his route was like the best one in the game, I still had a fun time playing it, so A tier for Limbo. Next up, we have Mozu, which is the first route that I played, and he is going to get a solid S tier from me. I love him, love his character design, love his personality. Sure, he's very quirky, but the best ones are. I don't mind that he works at a morgue. As long as he doesn't bring a body home, that's fine with me. I actually really had a fun time with his route. I liked unraveling the story in it, and his B-side story was very good in my opinion. He is by far my favorite character in this entire game, so Mozu, S tier. Next up, we have Shu, and I'm gonna give him a solid B tier. I had a fun time with his route. Would I play it again? Probably not, but it was good. Not romance-wise, but I actually really liked the plot of his route, and there was a specific character in his route that came in, and I actually really liked the whole backstory between them all, so his route was a fun time. Don't know if I would play it again, though. So Shu, B tier. Next up, we have Scarecrow, and this cutie patootie is gonna get an A tier from me. He would honestly make the best partner. I really liked the dynamic between him and Toyota. I loved the way they joked together, the way it just seemed like there was a good synergy between Toyota and Scarecrow. They made great partners in their route, and he's a great guy. He would make a wonderful boyfriend. So, Scarecrow, A tier. Finally, we have Helvetica, and I am sorry, but he's gonna get a C tier from me. I liked his route, but again, his character is not for me. I can see how appealing he is, and I can see how other people like him, but his was probably one of the least favorite routes in the game for me. I still had a fun time, and I still liked the plot in it, but just as a partner, no. Especially with that point system, because he'd be giving me a solid 10. Like, there's no way I'd get higher. 15 if I'm pushing it. I wouldn't pass any of this man's tests. Oh boy, here we go. We're moving on to my favorite game, Olympia Soiree. Let's just go with the obvious here. Akaza is... This man is the highest S tier I have ever seen in my entire life. He is perfect in every regard. His looks, the way he talks, the way he protects the whole entire island, the way he looks out for everyone no matter what. The way this man is the king of consent. He asks you for everything, and you don't get that a lot in games, and I appreciate that so much. He is perfect in every regard. I could go on hours talking about him, but I'm just gonna narrow it down to, I love him, I would die for him, he is S tier. Now, moving on to my next favorite character, and I'm sorry, but Riku is also going to get an S tier. Maybe not as high as Akaza, like maybe Akaza is like SS tier, and Riku is S tier. I really enjoyed Riku's route. The thing that I love the most about his route is the personal growth that he went through. I think he had the best plot in the game. You could really see the character development and the growth that he went through. Plus, he's gorgeous. I love his voice actor. I also love everything about him. So, Riku, S tier baby. Next up, we have Kuroba, and he is going to get a B tier from me. I did like some aspects of his route, and I do like his personality, but at the same time, and some of you probably already know what I'm talking about, his route had some few moments that I was like, you probably could have tackled that one a bit better, Chief. He had some aspects that I liked, and some that I didn't like. And his route was fun, but I don't know if I would replay his route again. I've already played it twice, but I don't know if I'd play it any more than that. So he is a B tier. However, Kuroba is also an exception in the hot trash category. So congratulations, you're also joining that tier. The reason why I'm saying he is hot trash is because the moment you meet him, he's like, hey, I'm ready to go. I got a bed in my office. It's ready for use. Like, what the dude, calm down. Although, I kind of dig his little pickup lines at the same time, so he has a well-deserved spot in the hot trash category. Next up is Tokisada. And I'm sorry, my baby, but you are getting a D tier. Just like Orlock and just like Kuroyuki, I can only see him as a family member. And although I thought his route was cute, and it did have like some really spicy scenes, I can only see him as a family member. So I'm sorry, but D tier, Tokisada. Next up is Himoka. And Himoka for me is such a different character than what I normally like, but I loved his route immensely. I cried so much every single time I played his route, and I've played it multiple times and it still gets me crying. Not necessarily the character development, but his plot in his route was so good, and you get to unravel more and more of just the whole world in Olympia Soiree. He is a solid character. I would love for him to just settle down, live in domestic bliss with Olympia, and because of that, he is getting an A tier. I love Himoka. Finally, we have Yosuga. and he's gonna get a solid B tier from me. I did enjoy his route, not too sure if I'll play it again, or maybe I will, but I'll just hold off for a long time. So, Yosuga, you are a B tier. Okay, moving on to Cupid Parasite. Oh boy, let's just jump into it. Gil, first character that I played, and I'm sorry, but his was not my favorite. I'm gonna give him a C tier. I can see the appeal in him to some people, not to me though. There was something about him just constantly pining over his unrequited love that just really started to bug me. I was like, dude, come on, pick yourself up, brush yourself off. There's more fish in the sea. You can do it. His route just wasn't my favorite. It was a little boring at times. Let's just say there were definitely other routes that I preferred more than Gil. So I'm sorry, my baby, but you're getting a C. Next up is Shelby. And Shelby is gonna get a solid A tier from me. I really enjoyed his story. There was a trope in it that I love. I'm a sucker for it. And he would also, I think, make a wonderful husband. He's got a stable job. He can take care of you. I think he's pretty wealthy. So, I mean, like, he could treat you nicely as well. He would make a great husband. So, Shelby's getting a solid A tier. Next up is Ryuki. And my sweet baby angel is also going to get an A tier from me. I really liked his story. I really liked seeing his character development throughout the game, and by the end, I was like, damn, congratulations. I was like a proud mom watching all the growth that he went through, and I just think he would also make a pretty good husband. So, Ryuki, A tier. Next up, we have Raoul, and I'm sorry, but he's on the same tier as Gil to me. I know he'll appeal to some people, but just not to me. This man kind of gives me like major himbo vibes, and sometimes when he was talking about mythology, I just needed the boy to be quiet. I just needed to go 10 minutes without hearing about Poseidon or Satan. And although his route was fun, I was laughing my head off, it just wasn't my favorite one in the game. So I'm sorry, Raoul, but you get a C tier. Finally, the last character in Cupid Parasite is Alan. And Alan deserves nothing else but S tier. This is one of those prime examples of a suave playboy with a hidden motive. I absolutely love him. His character design, great. His voice actor, great. His story, great. Him, absolute perfection. I would love to have him as a husband, and I think if you played his route, you would agree with me as well. So congratulations, Alan. You are in S tier. But also, not only that, you are also in the hot trash tier, because boy, you're a mess at times, but you are a hot mess. So, congratulations, welcome to the team. Finally, we have the most recent game that I've played, and that is Variable Barricade. First, let's start off with my first character I played, which is Tyga. And Tyga, for me, is going to get a B tier. I had fun playing his route. I'm not too sure if I'll play it again. I did like his character. I don't want to get into it without spoiling it for you guys. He had a good story, but there were some times where he really frustrated me. And like, this is given away in the common route, but like, he's a suspected gambling addict. And although I think personality-wise, he's a great guy, he's got to sort out that gambling issue or he would not make a very good partner. So I'm sorry, Tyga, but you get B tier. Next character that I played was Nayuta, and I'm so sorry to people, please don't hate me, but Nayuta gets a C tier from me. Honestly, I might even put him in D tier. The only reason why is because, again, he reminds me of like a family member. He reminds me of like a brother or a cousin. I don't think I could ever realistically see me like marry someone like that. He would be a great person to hang out with, but is he a good person that I want to spend the rest of my life with? Probably not. So I'm sorry, Nayuta, but you get a C tier from me. Next up is Shion, and Shion gets a tier in my eyes. Now, I know this is a hot take. There is a decent amount of people that do not like Shion in the slightest, but hear me out. I think he creates the perfect balance between him and Hibari. He knows exactly what she needs without her realizing it, and I really liked their story. I really liked how his route played out. I do think he's quite intuitive in picking up on what you need as a partner, and he'll be there for you. Although it would be nice if he could maybe, like, get a job every now and then, but, like, at the same time, you can't win everything. So, Shion, A tier. Congratulations. Finally, the last character we have is Ichiha. And in my opinion, Ichiha also gets an A tier. Now listen, there were some things in his story that definitely would make people question my choice. But I do still think he's a good husband. I think he would look out for you. He would cook some amazing food. I've seen that in the game. I do think he would be there for you no matter what. So Ichiha, you get an A tier in my eyes. Woo, okay. That covers it for all the Otome men that I've played on Nintendo Switch. Now this obviously is not including my backlog. I still have so many other games to play. I've got Steam Prison, Dairoku, Cafe Enchante, which I feel like that one I would really enjoy. So maybe I'll do another updated list in a year from now. Who knows? But thank you guys if you made it to the end of this video. I want to hear who you guys like. So please leave them in the comments below. If anyone else on YouTube would like to do this video as well, I would love to see your tier rankings because I know that my opinion can be quite different from other people. So I would just love to see your guys' opinions. Once again, thank you if you stuck to the end of this video. This is a very long one. I hope you had a fun time. I did. I'm kind of losing my voice now, so I'm gonna go drink some tea. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. You are staying safe, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye!